All right, Gunner's outside. Can you hear Gunner barking right now?
I just have to go, ooh.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the Quick Diz Takes podcast, episode 56. I am your host, Tim LeBeau, and with me today is Mr. John Castano.
Hello.
Mr. Stephen Lanzi.
Hello.
And Mrs. Sarah Castano.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Same routine. Please like, subscribe, share, rate us on Apple Podcasts if you get a chance. Leave us comments, send us emails, the backside of water, iCloud.com, and hit us up on Twitter at QuickDizTakes, which is my handle, or at PalmTreeScook, which is Sarah's handle. Today we'll be continuing our attraction series, and we will be discussing one of my all-time personal favorites, Peter Pan's Flight. That was completely sarcastic. For 2 weeks in a row now, I've had two of these attractions. I actually like Peter Pan, but we'll get into why I think it's a little overrated here in a minute. So without further ado, let's start with Sarah today, and she can tell us what she feels in terms of Peter Pan's Flight.
So I had almost never been on Peter Pan's Flight until, I'm pretty sure, 2 years ago. I had no idea what the big hype was. You could never get a fast pass for it. It seemed like a little kiddie ride. Like, I didn't really understand the big deal. So because we had a fast pass for it, we skipped most of the queue and went right on the ride, which was, I thought the track was cool. It was very different. Having that upper track guide you instead of a lower track like most of the other rides do. I really was not impressed. It was one of those one and done kind of rides that we've talked about before. I've experienced it, no need to go back on it. And then when Johnny and I went again for our anniversary this summer shortly after they reopened with COVID, we were able to go through the queue because it was, social distancing the line through. And even though a lot of it was interactive, was closed down, it seemed pretty cool going through a bedroom set, and there was a lot to look at on the walls in terms of artwork and not just a created scene. That was kind of cool, but I never would have known that because there's no way I'm waiting that long of a standby line with two small children for an kind of ride that even the boys weren't impressed by. And they like Peter Pan, they like Jake and the Neverland Pirates, they enjoy those things, but they just weren't really super impressed by the ride itself. I kind of felt when we got off the ride that we had taken like those people movers at the airport, those almost like a conveyor belt, just through a scene to scene mini model of a city or a mini model of a movie. And I just wasn't super impressed by a lot. And I'm still not entirely sure what all the hype is about that ride. For my retheme, I was thinking, and it didn't quite fit in, but I was thinking something along the lines of Pocahontas. I know that doesn't fit over there, but if you haven't seen the movie, Pocahontas gets the sage advice from Grandmother Willow. And I was thinking along the lines that one of her branches could be what carries you through, and you get to see all the colors of the wind. So you can see the beauty of nature. You can kind of pass through the wolf cry and the bear cubs and all these different things. You could kind of be a nature type ride, but with the guidance of Grandmother Willow. It doesn't fit the area of the park. And I was also thinking, I know Lanzi's going to kill me. It's a flight type ride. You can make it an interactive tiki room. He's going to kill me through my computer. Type ride. And you just fly through the tropics or something along those lines. But I thought Grandmother Willow with a nature, colors of the wind style ride.
All right. Now, in all fairness to Lanzi's hatred for the tiki room, I think he's okay with your idea because, from what I understand, as long as they spruced it up and modernized it and gave it a reasonable look, he's okay, as long as they're not going, they're not shopping at Five Below to buy these little
I think
electronics.
Yeah, it's I have nothing against the theme, the style, but even the music. It really just is these, the party store or Five Below decorations that they have that you can, clicking plastic. That's really, but the theme, I mean, I think you had a great idea a couple weeks ago where you said you can almost make like a theme bar or something, and it would just be a lot of fun. So it's not so much the theme, it's how they're the way outdated way.
It would be so cool going back to the bar idea because, and if you made the animatronics kind of say, I mean, it's Disney, so it's got to be toned down, but just kind of have them saying wise guy type of things, or joking with you like, hey, buddy, give me one, buy me a beer. So just funny little things that interact with the guests instead of doing what they do now. And let's face it, in the age of political correctness, they're not. How much longer is that ride? Is that attraction going to make it anyway? It's going to be. Yeah. So, but hopefully, I kind of like the idea of it. Hopefully, they keep it, but make it like it's been made in the last 20 years or so.
I mean, to kind of flesh it out, I was thinking along the lines of, It's a Small World, where you have the songs going through. I mean, it's still the same songs and repertoire, whatever. The soundtrack still goes, but you just go through scene to scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they'll find a way to keep the idea of it around and just make it more of a modern thing. Johnny, how are you feeling about Peter Pan?
I was just going to say that Disneyland does have the Tropical Hideaway. That's like a bar-ish restaurant right next to Tiki Room. So they've already got it. So they could just bring it over here.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. But Peter Pan, I want to like Peter Pan's flight a lot. I like Peter Pan. I like the movie. Captain Hook is my favorite villain. I just want to like the ride. But it's so short and just... not, I mean, it's just the shortness of it is what really makes me not like it, because it's that whole, like Sarah said, you're waiting in line. If you don't have fast pass, I would never go on it. But if you're waiting in line for this short ride, and I know that they've tried to, I mean, if you do wait in the line, they do have that interactive part where you go through the nursery, and I mean, we walked through it, but we didn't get to see it because of the COVID stuff. But they're trying to make this line so interactive, so you will wait into it to try to combat the waiting so long. But it's so quick in. I don't even think it doesn't even really give you the whole story, I guess, of the movie. You just move through these scenes so fast. I don't think you, even if you've never seen the movie, which I mean a lot of little kids I guess nowadays haven't, but I don't think it really even gives you the story of the movie that well, because it's so quick. I do like the I guess they're sort of animatronics, or I think they look good, and I like the dark. It's dark, and they use sort of like the black lightish technology. The colors of everything are cool, and I think the London scene, I would say probably the London scene where you're flying over London is my favorite scene, and I know that I've read in order for them to make it look like you get the forced perspective, but just knowing that they use bicycle chains with black light paint on it to get the look of the cars. So it's just kind of cool to know that. I like any scene that's where you get the full Captain Hook too, just because I like Captain Hook. And as far as, and I do like, I think your ride vehicle is probably one of the coolest parts, because you get to actually ride in a Jolly Roger ship. And as far as a retheme, the thing I came up with that would kind of use the whole hanging from the ceiling ride vehicle is you could maybe change it to a Monsters Inc. ride, where as you'd have to make the ride vehicle the door scene, where you just have to hang seats off the door, but you're actually in that, you're sitting on the doors, and maybe the ride could basically be the end of Monsters Inc., where you're looking for Boo's door with the whole, Randall and everybody chasing you, something along those lines. That's the only really thing I could think of where you could kind of keep the hanging off the ceiling ride vehicle.
So I'm not going to say anything different. I don't get what the hype is about, especially when you go on Winnie the Pooh ride, which is very similar, but better, done in a much better manner. I mean, honestly, the best part of the ride, as mentioned, is when you get to see Big Ben. But even then, like the boats in the water, like we're kind of they don't move. There's more details they could do. And honestly, the whole ride the whole ride is as if the creator, wanted to impress everybody with his action figure collection, right? Because that's all I got from it was, all right, well, and they're not even moving half the time, or they're barely moving. It just seems like it's very lazy. It just seems like they made, I understand they're trying to do forced perspective, but they made a little model, a bunch of models of everything, and called it good enough. And it shows its age. It shows its lack of creativity, I think. Especially, like I said, you have Winnie the Pooh, which is very similar in the style, that is just done in a much better way, much more interesting and engaging way. And I to be honest, the whole thing with we're in a flying ship, I don't know where that came from. As pertains to the movie, like I understand Captain Hook had a boat, but the sail blocks a lot of your view. Well, I don't even really like that.
It's a good point.
I'm not a fan, really a fan of the ride. You do it once, I have zero wanting to do it again. I do like the hanging style, right? The flying style. I do like that because it fits, but yeah, I mean, there's just so much more that they could do. As far as like refurb, I mean, I would like to keep the Peter Pan style. I mean, if you had to leave Peter Pan, and you had to refurbish it as something completely different, maybe Aladdin because the flying thing and the carpet ride. But even with that, again, you need to make it interesting. So what I would love to see, if they're going to keep it as Peter Pan, which I really would like them to do because I don't think there's really any other ride. If you're going to keep it in the style that it is, meaning not going to a Flight of Passage technological ride, then I want to, okay, you go around Big Ben. When we enter Neverland, it needs to be bright and happy. I want to go through the tree houses, right? Like fly amongst the tree houses. I want, maybe you splash a kind of pool, a little area like next to the ship. If you're going to use animatronics, it's okay to use the bigger animatronics like in Pirates of the Caribbean. So at least they have more of a human element, not just, a bunch of action figures, set up, and just make it more appealing. Blow some cold wind. I mean, if you're flying, you're flying. Blow some cold wind. Get some smells going, especially when you're near the water. Get some sea, there's a lot more they can do with sensory, a lot more fun they could have. And I would like them to keep it as Peter Pan. If I had it just for the sake of the answer, I would say then refurb it as Aladdin, but the same answers apply. More interesting, more sensory, more effort.
So I encourage anyone that hasn't seen the Shanghai version to go on YouTube and watch it. And once you see that, you'll say to yourself, why are they not doing this in the Magic Kingdom? If we're going to keep Peter Pan there and we're going to have people lining up for it, it's time to shut it down and make it look like that one. It's, really quick. It's got a nice blend of projection technology and way better animatronics, way better models. I think, Johnny, you've seen it, right? Maybe?
Yeah, I've seen the video, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see it's just clearly a better ride. And I just think and I've been working on some videos, and this is one of the topics that I've been kind of chewing on, is when does classic then become just too old? And I think like the Tiki Hut has gotten to that point, and Peter Pan is, if it's not there, it's teetering. And it just makes you wonder, it just makes you wonder if it's so popular, why bother changing it type of thing, which I guess I can't argue with them with, but I just don't get it. People getting, if you've never been to Disney and you go to Peter Pan's Flight, I guess I understand that, but you're not going to tell me that there's enough. I've been to the parks a ton, and there's a bunch of different days I go to the Magic Kingdom. It's never going to tell me there's enough people to make that a 60 to 90 minutes, sometimes 90 to 120 minute wait to get on that ride. That ride, I'm actually just finished the script for a video I'm doing on that ride, and I was doing research, and it's a 2-minute ride duration. 2 minutes. And there's just no popular attraction should ever be 2 minutes. And if it is 2 minutes, how is a line 90? I'll tell you how. It's old, and it was built in a time. Actually, the original one in Disneyland was built in a time where it was considered technologically advanced. The second iteration, which is the one we have in the Florida parks, came to us in, I would imagine, when the park opened in '71, I believe. So it had almost 20 years to get itself together even more. And they basically just cloned it. They cloned a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old ride. So I get a little bit like bleh when I talk about this ride, because if it's a walk-on, it's sure, why not? It's not awful. It is, in some ways, quintessential Disney dark ride. And think about in the 50s when that ride came out, how cool it must have been to be suspending from up above as opposed to through the ride scenes. I'm sorry, the show scenes. But now it just, to me, I don't even like wasting a fast pass on it, honestly. And Ari, my daughter, who's only 8, she never really asks to go on it, so it's just a moot point for me. As far as
our boys either, and they like it. I mean, they like the idea of Peter Pan.
Yeah. Retheming it wise, I'm gonna give a little shout out to Ari, because this was her idea. It's way out of place and it would never happen and all that good stuff, but it's kind of a cool idea because, we're all trying to think of what fits with something that flies through scenes. And she was saying, let's retheme him to the little Baby Yoda crib and, fly through scenes from The Mandalorian. I thought for an 8-year-old, that's a pretty good idea. And so that's what I'm going with there. I know obviously it wouldn't fit Fantasyland, but, doesn't have to. So let's get away from Peter Pan's Flight and move on to our attraction series. Now here, attraction elimination series. We have even numbers today, so I don't know how this is going to go. Because without the deciding vote, it may be a little difficult. Well, let's give it a whirl. Today might be the day. Today might be the Pirates versus Haunted Mansion day Johnny's been dreaming about his whole life. We'll see.
Not unless you rigged it.
Uh-oh. Maybe.
Smugglers Run.
Oh, so close.
Well, jeez.
That's kind of an interesting one. You talk about two attractions getting matched up. You want to take the wheel on this, Sarah?
Oh, geez. And they're two very different and distinct rides. Like, holy moly. So I'll start with Cali River Rapids, since I've done that one far more than Smuggler's Run. It's always good to cool you off midday. You're going to get wet. It's kind of like when we talked about Splash Mountain the other day. You're going to get wet, but you sit down in the wet seat. You're like, ugh. Yeah,
exactly. It's so weird.
Yeah. What's the point? You're getting wet on this ride. I do miss, they used to have, they're still there, but not gargoyles, but the stone creatures, and you used to be able to, I think you put coins in them and you could shoot, they were like water cannons, you could shoot it as people walked by. I know they haven't done that in a while. I don't know if that's COVID or.
I think they still have them. Yeah, but they shut them down for COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had them last time in the summer.
That big, 2019.
The big family trip.
Yeah.
Because they were shooting it at us while we were in the thing.
They should put hand sanitizer in it. Just shoot that at people.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic, I think. We actually had a family where we were a big 14-person trip, and one person stayed out because she was insisting it was a cesspool of like people's sweat and sunscreen. She had a point, but It was very hot and we needed to cool off. So I thought that I like that part. It's kind of fun if you're a bystander waiting for a group of people to get off, or you're just kind of hanging out and having a snack to spray the people going by. I was a little confused for a while. I took a few turns to figure out about that burnt log scene. It's supposed to be like, you know, the dangers of logging and killing the environment, I think. And then there were vultures, which it was a little odd to me, but I can kind of stretch it and see where they were going with that. But I do really like it. I think it is a good ride in the summer, which is when the majority of the people are there. It's a nice cool down ride. It's fun. And then you have a little competition when you get off, who's soaked the most, who looks like, you know, completely dry, but looks like you peed yourself because you sat in a wet seat. You know, that's always fun. But it's Florida in the summer and you dry up pretty quickly. Smuggler's Run, I've been on a couple times. That one has a very cool queue to go through. There's so much to look at always. They have the QR codes for that. The Star Wars-esque version of it anyway. It doesn't look like a regular QR code. So that does help with the longer lines. With COVID, it does move pretty quickly because everything is distance out, but that's like, you know, most runs. I mean, most of the lines for them. The ride itself is cool. If you're someone such as myself who did not play a lot of video games and you go on the ride with someone such as my husband who knows how to play video and you're not a very good pilot, and then there's issues, but it is fun. There's buttons to touch. There's the cool screen. It is very, I hate saying immersive because I feel like it's just overused so much, but it is very, you really do feel as though you're flying it. So if I had to pick one to keep, I'm going to go with Cali River. We have a lot of those high-tech rides. It's another Star Wars ride, which I know we just got it and all, but you don't have too many rides where you can cool down in the Florida heat. So I'm going to keep Cali River.
Well, Cali River, like you said, is good for cooling down. I think the queue in Cali River is one of like the coolest queues in Animal Kingdom. It's very intricate, detailed in like the little, I guess, so like little temples and type thing. So that's something to look at. But the ride is just, they took all the theming out of the ride. It's basically some people are trying to get wet and others are trying to not get wet. And it doesn't have it, like you said, it did have the theme when Animal Kingdom first opened with the whole their deforestation and stuff. It still has that scene towards the top with all trees, and it's still, so there was theming, and then they just got rid of it. And so you're just, I don't know. I don't feel it's a very, it's not, it's like more of a cookie cutter rapids ride that you could go to at our Six Flags. Even I can even compare it to our Six Flags New England. That, like, it's the same type of ride. They did the same exact thing Disney ride. That was based off of, it was a whole the penguin from Batman thing, and then they de-themed that ride too. So I don't know if is this a thing to de-theme these rapid rides. I don't know, but I don't know. This Cali River Rapids is, I guess you can say it's good for cooling down, but I hate it. I mean, the last time we went, I was the only person in the boat that got soaking wet, and I couldn't stay. It was awful. And then Smuggler's Run, like you said, it has the queue, especially if you're a Star Wars fan, there's stuff to look at, and maybe you can pick something out from some type of movie. And then you literally, I don't know, you literally get to, you walk onto the Millennium Falcon. That room is so detailed, and that's, I don't know. It's just, it was very, and you can look, there's things on the shelves and stuff you can see and pick out from, you can pick out the details that the Imagineers put in there. And then once you actually get on the ride, if you actually, what have I been? I think I've only piloted it, so I've only got that perspective. But you get to pull the switch to go into hyperdrive, and that's like, you see Han and Chewie right out there. You get to pull that switch, and you feel like you're going into hyperdrive. It's like, I don't know. It was one of the highlights of me going on that ride. So I think, I would pick Millennium Falcon. I just, if maybe Cali River would have a shot if it was themed or had a more cohesive if the queue wasn't themed better than the actual ride, maybe it would have a shot. But overall, Millennium Falcon is just as a theme thing. It's more put together. That gives you the whole story of your working and being as you're trying to smuggle stuff. I mean, you get the whole story from beginning to end. So just based on that, I would pick Millennium Falcon, and then not just if you're a Star Wars fan. I mean, you get to stand outside in the queue and you look at the full-scale model of the Millennium Falcon. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. For me, it's just from the Star Wars fan perspective too. So
for full disclosure, I have yet to go to Disney with the Star Wars, with all the new Star Wars rides. I was deployed when it came out, and I have yet to get COVID, so I never got down. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was literally going to go with Rapids. I was, because my idea was, because here's the thing, my idea was, for families especially, it's more expensive to go to the water parks at Disney, right? So my thinking was, for the families, it's good to have some water rides that they don't have to go pay extra to go to Blizzard Beach, whatever it's called, right? So they would have Splash Mountain, and they would have the Rapids. And I swear, up until 5 minutes ago, I was going with the Rapids for the betterment of the family, for families, not mine, because I could care less, but for families. However, the fact that I was just informed that I could walk onto the Millennium Falcon and hit the lever to go to forget the kids, forget the families. I don't care. Okay, nope, get out of my way. I'm going on the Millennium Falcon. I am piloting them. I'm going into, forget it. All that logic before that goes right out the window. I'm going on the Millennium Falcon if anyone needs me. I'll be hanging out with Han and Chewie in the cockpit. So I'm definitely good. I haven't gone on it. Don't care. I've heard all that I need to hear.
Well, this is the time to go, because you can't pick your position normally, but because of COVID, it's only one party per experience. So this is the time to go, my friend.
Well,
I know.
Me and Tim had to go. We had to go on it twice because we each had to have a turn to get pull the hyperdrive.
I cannot now. Now I really can't wait to go on it. And like I said, for the betterment of families, I really was going Rapids because it's not just about me. It's about obviously kids, whatever. But they're there, I guess. So give them something to do. It's hot. It's Florida. Water ride, awesome. So at least 2 out of the 4 parks have got some kind of a water ride. But I'm hitting the lever there. I'm driving the Millennium Falcon. So sorry. So I'm going with Smuggler's Run. Sorry. At least I have a good reason.
So, for the betterment of mankind and myself and this park that we're putting together, I'm also going with Smuggler's Run. Because one, like Johnny said, Smuggler's Run Kali River Rapids is really just a cookie cutter raft ride, which speaks to what was going on when they were throwing Animal Kingdom together anyway. If it had better theming, which it could, and that ride's in Africa, correct? Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just, once again, I forget what I brought this up on last time, but it falls in the category of, if I'm going to a Disney park, I expect to be at least mildly blown away by what the attraction is themed on and all that kind of stuff. And this is just one of those that's blah. It's not even the best. It's not even the best Rapids ride in Florida. Popeyes is way better, in my personal opinion, anyway. And you get way wetter on that one. Rise is just, Smuggler's Run is not out of this world, but it's pretty cool. I mentioned last week with Hamilton and American history being one of my many obsessions. Star Wars also one of my many obsessions. So it's just, I can't get rid of Smuggler's Run. At least not against, well, I probably could have, but just not against Kali River Rapids, I guess. What I'm trying to say. And I'm glad I feel this way too, because it makes this vote much easier with only 4 people here. Yeah, Kali's just lackluster. It's fun, cool off. It's fine. It's just, it's not the best water ride in Disney either. I mean,
Why did the theming go away? It was already
I don't
themed
know.
and it had that story. I mean, I understand they took the poacher out of the safari because some felt the poaching was too scary and for kids. But if the whole idea was about conservation, why did they take that theming out?
I don't know.
If any of you out there know, just comment, please.
Yeah, please. And once again, it's just one of those things where it feels like the Imagineers the budget was getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and they were tightening their belt, and they were like, okay, so we can get a Rapids ride in here. It's like Peter Griffin, we want to, when he does the $6 Million Man parody, it's like, we want to put them together, but we don't want to spend that much money. And then it's like just put together all clunky. So Smuggler's Run, we'll see another day. Sorry.
Oh, I can't see. Beauty and the Beast. Ooh, Country Bear Jamboree.
All right. Beauty and the Beast versus Country Bear Jamboree. Who would like to go first in the great debate of Beauty and the Beast and Country Bear Jamboree?
Country Bear Jamboree wins. Beauty and the Beast, as much as I love the story, is awful. I've never taken my kids to see it because it's awful. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw it. Granted, I have not seen Country Bear Jamboree in a long time either. However, it's a much better show. I'm not saying it's stellar, out of this world great, but it's far better than the Beauty and the Beast stage show. Mama Don't Whoop Little Buford. That's like my favorite song. And the characters are walking around the park. The kids don't even know the context for them, but they're excited to see them. With COVID, they're on, not a terrace, but almost a balcony. They'll wave to the kids. They'll walk around. Kids are so happy to see him. You can't even see Beast at Be Our Guest anymore. You see Belle on a parade and they're like, But hands down, Country Bear Jamboree.
So I am going to have to agree, honestly. And I'll tell you why. I actually do enjoy the Beauty and the Beast stage show. I mean, it's like, kind of going to Broadway, I guess, a little bit. But the thing is, it falls so short of that. So when you go to, I think we had a conversation about the Lion King show, right? And even Finding Nemo and comparing them to, The Lion King is a really good example of things going perfect. Like I said, it's like Broadway. It's super interactive. It's very entertaining. I feel like the Beauty and the Beast show is almost like a little lazy, I guess. And when you actually see Beauty and the Beast on like the Broadway show, I have seen it when it comes here to Rhode Island at PPAC. It shows how much it kind of falls short. I think if they kind of kicked it up a little bit and there's some much more entertaining but still easy special effects they could do, make it a little more enjoyable. But I do like the Jamboree. I've seen the Jamboree a couple times, and it just makes me laugh. It is just, it's funny. Everyone in the theater is entertained by it. So I'm a fan of it, and so I'm gonna have to go to the Jamboree just because it keeps my attention better. It's more entertaining. I think Beauty and the Beast is an amazing show. It just needs to be caked up a bit, and then I think it'll be as good or better as Jamboree.
Country Bear Jamboree over Beauty and the Beast. Like everybody has said, it's more entertaining. That it's something. It's something a little different. It's not like, I mean, your casual Disney fan won't, I mean, they know Beauty and the Beast, but they won't know this little Country Bear Jamboree show. They go in, they can have a good time. The songs are catchy. It's got the funny factor, especially in like the characters. I mean, the characters are goofy looking when they're walking around outside. And especially when they're not up on the balcony, they'll the way they interact with people outside. I mean, they'll grab you and they'll hold your hand to walk you around and do all kinds of silly stuff. And then the Beauty and the Beast show just kind of lazy, at least with less for the Lion King and Finding Nemo. The characters in the show are to scale. In Beauty and the Beast, Mrs. Potts and Chip are the same size as Belle and the Beast. So I mean, I know you have to have a person, but you could maybe hide somebody in a table and use it like a puppet or something, just to at least make stuff more to, just. And so, yeah, I just think Country Bear is just more entertaining and fun.
Yeah, Country Bear, end of story for me too. Beauty and the Beast is lazy in every way, shape, and form, really. And it's just one of those, and I know we have musicals based on movies that we go see in Broadway, and we hear the story again and again and again, and that's cool. But I feel like the shows, I would like to see Disney do more of this. When they have a show based on an IP, let's have the show, but let's have it based on the IP, but let's have like a different story with those characters, because we're in the parks and we've seen the movies. So let's just try something different. Let's not just retell Beauty and the Beast in a, I don't know, what is that, 25-minute stage show or something? I don't even, it's not long. I don't even know the last, I haven't seen that. I couldn't tell you. And it's in Hollywood, I don't know.
It has such a small storefront too. When you're walking by, it's very easily missed. Mm-hmm. So if it's not something that's highly recommended to you, you can very easily just continue walking down onto Tower of Terror or Big Not Left and go over to Rock and Roller Coaster. You walk by, you have no idea.
Yeah, most people think, oh, that's where Fantasmic is. And they don't.
Mm-hmm. That's about it. Yeah.
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 Yep. So I think that was a good matchup for Country Bear because it was an easy win for them.
Plus, where else in Disney are you going to hear about someone whooping little Buford and pounding on his head?
Yeah, I love that stupid show. I'd like to see them. Hopefully they'll go forward. I mean, they got rid of it in Disneyland, so I guess it's inevitable it's going to happen in Disney World. But why not? That's another one where I'd like to just see just a newer version. But I think they'll just replace it at some point.
I like it because, you know what? It takes a lot of people. It's everyone can kind of get on to the shows. And I like things like that within the park that just takes a group of people and puts them over here for 25 minutes, and maybe Splash Mountain will be under 90 minutes. Maybe. I like rides like that because it kind of helps spread the people out a bit.
Especially in that part of the park too. Like that's a very busy part, and just get people in there.
Also, I mean, and you know what? It's a really hot day. Sometimes you're really just looking for that 15, 20-minute something just to get out of the sun, and so that's another reason why I like that ride.
Yeah, so, and I like that it's set in that where it is. It almost doesn't feel like there could be a good size attraction in there, and then all of a sudden you're just in it. So it feels cozy, kind of has that frontier feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it's kind of silly, but it just makes sense. Mm-hmm. Whereas Beauty and the Beast feels like it's just
there.
Just there, yeah. Bleh. All right. So before we wrap up, we had our weekly non-Disney task, and that was to put Nicolas Cage. You know what? Sarah's not here this weekend. This is the one she picks.
Right? Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry, Sarah.
That's okay. So where are we putting Nicolas Cage? Where is the man who will take any role Hollywood offers him going to go?
I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's going to have. I'll say at least 3 out of 4 of us are going to have the same answer. I think at least.
All right, let's hear it.
I mean, I think the obvious one is his character from National Treasure, and you can put him in either America in Epcot, or that place like near the Hall of Presidents and all that in Magic Kingdom. I think it'd be a little bit better in Epcot, just because you have a lot more room, and the American experience, I think, is just more of just. And I just, again, him running around trying to steal the Declaration of Independence or something. Actually, you know what? I thought about it. I think it would be a really cool idea to have that character almost do like an escape room. Like, you got to answer these trivia, like American history trivia, and to get released, and every now and then they change it up, so this way here people don't know the answers going ahead of time, and they just kind of change it. And I think doing an escape room with a Nicolas Cage from National Treasure would be pretty cool, and to have have the gift shop sell the Declaration, like they had in the second movie, the Declaration of Independence, when he bought it, the first one, sorry. I think have that in the gift shop. I'd buy it.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought the obvious Benjamin Gates from there, but I have another one too. But my idea was you incorporate him, since they've already kind of established. I believe I'm not sure which Disney it is. It's not California. It's the other Disney park that has the Indiana Jones like roller coaster, where they incorporated Indiana Jones is part of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. So now you bring this Ben Gates character, and since he's discovered all this American secret stuff, he can be part of the society as well. So you can kind of even bring, I don't know, you make some sort of new ride where you can. I'm all about incorporating the sea stuff into the parks, which I think you could incorporate him into it and create some sort of thing, maybe in like Liberty Square, something there where he's part of the whole society as well. But I went with, they've really only did like this movie, they only did like test shoots with it. He never got to do the movie. But Superman, he was in the Superman Lives movie, and it was this. I mean, if you've never seen it, Google this. The way he looked was crazy. It was Kevin Smith wrote the movie, so it was super comic booky. But I think you should incorporate him in, like, put him in the new Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster ride. It's all, it's going to take this space thing, but just cross over DC and Marvel, make him come through when they're supposed to bring X-Men into the whole universe, bring this strange Nicolas Cage Superman into just somewhere in that ride out in space, where the Guardians somehow met up with him. I don't know. Just because it's so strange seeing him in that costume. It's wacky.
He doesn't fit that role, but he loves Superman. He named his kid Kal-El.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. It's just so weird and out there.
It just doesn't even make sense for him to be Superman.
No.
He does not look the role at all. I like Nick Cage is fine.
Yeah.
But man, that is just not a role for him. Anyway, Sarah.
So I actually had a Ben Gates plan as an afterthought, which, since we're on the Ben Gates, let's roll with it. It actually wouldn't be a ride or an attraction. It would be along the lines of Festival of the Holidays, where they have Olaf hidden with different holiday traditions, or Remy had for food and wine, he was with a different ingredient. You'd have random bits of Nicolas Cage movie signage hidden throughout Epcot. And at the end, you get like a napkin signed by him or something just silly as your token for winning. However, the real thing that I was thinking of would be over in Hollywood Studios. It would be Olaf's one-man show, where Olaf gives us his fantastic synopsis of different Disney movies. But it's a really hot day and his flurry dried out, so Nicolas Cage is there to save the day. So it'd be a character from Face Off. And it would literally just be faces he puts in front of himself to tell us the stories. And I think it would be fantastic. It would have to be an outdoor show, so maybe it can take the space of Beauty and the Beast instead of an indoor place that Frozen Sing Along currently takes place in, because it would help make sense with, him melting. But I went right with Face Off. I was trying to do Con Air, that seemed a bit dark, but Face Off you can kind of make a little silly.
Change Soarin' to a Con Air ride.
Con Air, that is such an awesome movie. Now,
I do love that.
Nicolas Cage?
Very underrated movie.
Was he in Snakes on a Plane?
I don't think so. Samuel L. Jackson was. And don't worry, Samuel L. You'll find your way into a Disney park on this podcast in the very near future.
I have a feeling.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so Nicolas Cage was in Sorcerer's Apprentice too, right?
Yep.
That was a Disney movie that we kind of forgot about. But anyway.
Well, I thought about it, but I didn't. He
I
wasn't
am gonna,
It's very on.
huh? Oh,
I was say I thought about it, but he wasn't the Sorcerer's Apprentice. That I can't think of the kid's name, but I was gonna swap Mickey from Fantasmic with the Sorcerer's Apprentice, but no, it didn't work out.
so Nicolas Cage was the actual sorcerer then, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe. I don't know. I never saw the movie.
I'm gonna watch that movie, I think. Is it on Disney Plus? It must be.
I've never looked.
Speaking of which, Mighty Ducks reboot next Friday. Holla. Anyway.
Have you seen the poster of all the skaters with Coach Bombay in the middle? Oh my goodness.
Now,
They didn't bring back.
Joshua Jackson's not coming back, right?
No, they brought back. What was his name? The one from
Adam
the second one. No, they brought back a couple good ones, but then it was it Adam Wu from the second
Kenny
movie?
Wu.
Yeah,
Kenny Wu. He wasn't even a good character. Why did he come
He
back?
was the former figure skater.
Woo, Kenny Wu. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
but I mean, he wasn't. They should have only brought first movie people back.
Wow, you're getting okay.
Can't have just
No,
the
you
first
can't.
thing,
You
Johnny.
can't say that, Johnny, because Kenny Wu was in 2 and 3, and Julie the Cat Gaffney was a good character, and she came in the second movie, and she is a key character.
Yes, but
She left her team in Bangor, Maine to show the world what she could do.
They could bring him
She
back,
did,
but
damn
he
it.
should not be in the initial people brought back.
He had the faster glove.
Yeah.
They should have brought back one of the no.
That and
Joshua
Goldberg-
Jackson or Jesse
Goldberg
should have
didn't
been in there. I'm upset.
Goldberg didn't work hard enough. He didn't take care of himself. He was a mess. And now he's even more of a mess in real life. We're not going to get into that.
Hey, Averman's back. I'm happy about that one.
Yeah. So you're okay with Aberman coming back?
Yes.
I love
Aberman-
I kind of have resemblance to Averman. I have we look like each other.
Okay. He looks exactly the same too, by the way.
Yeah. They should have brought back Goldberg. The guy, he cleaned up his life. They should have brought him back.
They can't bring Goldberg back.
He's looking good. Haven't seen him recently. He cleaned
No.
up.
He can't look any worse.
No, he went to rehab. He's looking good now.
I was strong. Anyway,
Moving on.
That's beyond the point. Go ahead.
I am pumped for that reboot though. So I picked an attraction that I think desperately needs a facelift anyway, and I think this works out actually perfect. If this was not so adult oriented, I think Disney might even consider it. We're going to take Test Track and we're going to make it Gone in 60 Seconds.
Mm.
And we're going to get an Angelina Jolie animatronic in there as well, because I mean, hey, why not, and we're just going to race, away from the police in a stolen vehicle. And maybe the pre-show could be, something to do with you planning maybe you map out on the screen what your escape route's going to be. And then you jump in these cars, and obviously the final getaway is the outdoor track, and across the line. We'll have to be rethemed a little bit to safety. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, it's themed after Tron, even though it's not Tron right now. So, so the heck with it, right? I think it'll work out awesome. Unlike Steve, I don't have any really ideas for merch. I guess you would just sell little models of the cars you rode in. Yeah, I think that would be a good fit. And I'm glad that one popped in my head because I couldn't really think of one. And then I was like, oh, that's actually a good one because I don't like the way Test Track is right now. So I'd be happy to have that there.
If it's going in 60 seconds, you can just sell keychains.
Yeah.
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 I actually do. I like that idea. I didn't even think of Gone in 60 Seconds. And I wasn't here when you guys talked about Test Track, but I think it needs a little bit of a refurb.
Yeah, it's like I like it, but I want to see something done with it. It's a little bit better.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say maybe Ghost Rider going through Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween. I don't know if
forgot about that one.
I don't know if that would ruin the not so scary part. I mean, like for little kids to see a burning skull on a motorcycle drive by. But you know what? Kids today, they see all the stuff online anyways. You can't fake them. So desensitized to movies and television.
I don't know.
And here I am. I'm like, how do I fit City of Angels? That was popular. I've never seen it. How do you fit a love story in here?
Right.
Just have him and was that Meg Ryan? I don't even know. Meg Ryan? Have him and whoever the female lead had, just have them on the float with like all the couples. Snow White. Yeah.
Hey,
just
you know,
people. I don't know.
Hollywood studios just have every now and then, once an hour, you know, Ghost Rider just goes down the motorcycle with a flaming skull. Keeps kids on their toes, you know. If some kids, you actually think of it as a parent. Your kid starts, you know, acting out. You're like, I'm gonna get Ghost Rider over here in a minute. You know, you don't start behaving. You know, nothing makes a kid act better than being scared. I'm just saying.
You know, I definitely went off the top of my head preparing for this Nick Cage thing, and I kind of wish I had gone on IMDb, because if you look through this, I mean, this guy's catalog of movies is ridiculous.
He's insane.
So
when you guys were saying he'll just take any role, I didn't realize just how true that statement was. And then I'm
the last like
scrolling.
5-6 years, I didn't even know he was in half these movies. I didn't
Well,
even
the
know
thing
he
is, he
was
went
as much.
his accountant screwed him, and he went broke.
Yeah.
He owed the city of Newport all kinds of tax money for the house he had owned there, and all. So he just started taking any role that would come to him.
Yeah, he was
And
buying.
why not? Because he was getting $20 million a pop.
Dinosaur skeletons too. He was spending a lot of money. But,
He's in Wicker Man, and I heard that movie was horrible.
yeah, I don't even know. I've never even heard of some of these movies.
I'm looking at him now. Raising Arizona is awesome. That's a classic.
You know, if we somehow bring Face Off, because that was mentioned, you know, that's another twofer, because you get him and John Travolta. You know, and Travolta had the best lines. You know, it's like, look in the mirror, only not. You know, I think if you could do a twofer, you know. Yeah, you walk into the attraction, or maybe they're just standing there. You walk by them, and the guy doing Travolta just goes, "Ooh, we good looking." Yeah, I mean, it'll perk up my day, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Or you could just put a Nicolas Cage animatronic in and call it a twofer, and just say that he could be that is John Travolta or Nicolas Cage. You don't know which one, because somehow when they took their faces off, the bodies also changed.
Yeah, they were perfect.
Hey, they should remake Face Off, because now you could actually use CGI and actually make the bodies stay the same but switch the faces. But I guess the concept wouldn't work as well, because
I mean that movie was I think ahead of its time in the technology that it saw that we could do. I mean, obviously we're not there yet, but it was really. I mean, I thought it was really interesting, that movie. I mean, I don't know if you can fit that in Disney, but all in all, it was a good movie. So
I wouldn't mind putting his character from Kick-Ass in the park either, because I like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I do like the Gone in 60 Seconds, though, to go with Test Track. I think that would be, you know, you could add some, you know, the cops trying to catch you, and so, you know, you got to evade them and whatnot.
All right. So next week, I want Billy Bob Thornton. Oh, come on. You're going to think of some Billy Bob Thornton. He's got some characters, man.
Now, do I have to like work on an impression of him, or am I good? Do I?
Mm-hmm. That's like a criteria.
I just assumed you already had one from Sling Blade.
You know, I've never really even seen that movie.
French fried taters.
I'll see what I can come up with in a week's time.
Billy Bob Thornton's weird because he's kind of the opposite of Nicolas Cage in the sense of he hasn't done a ton of movies. I don't think anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think he has done a ton, but he has done some good ones. Like it's more quality versus quantity maybe for them. So we'll see. And he's had some good. I mean, Bad Santa. I'm not going to name any more after this one, but Bad Santa's I mean, come on, it's a holiday classic. So, all right. So.
All right. What are we doing for a ride?
Oh, yeah, for the ride next week. That's a good one. Let's do...
Park haven't we done in a while?
Where were we Animal
Hang
Kingdom?
tight, and I can tell you.
Let's do Expedition Everest.
Okay. Yeah, we've only done one ride from Animal Kingdom, so.
Let's do Expedition Everest. And I think a few more weeks, and then we're going to start coming up with an idea for the first segment, different idea for the first segment. Like, subscribe, rate us on Apple Podcasts. Check out the Quick Diz Takes Facebook page. It's at Quick Diz Takes on Twitter, at Palm Tree Cook on Twitter. Email us at thebacksideofwater@icloud.com. Leave comments at the YouTube page. Check out the YouTube page. Got some great videos coming out soon next month. Gonna have a lot of them. Been working way more than some would think you should work on YouTube videos lately. So we'll be getting some of that content out on some of our opinions, or mostly my opinions on some of these attractions we've actually talked about. And yeah, so check those out, and hopefully you like those. And we're out of here because my dog is going crazy. And we'll see you next week.